Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, and I want to give you a review and also analysis for the pair of the gold versus the USD dollar, or we usually call it XAU USD. So I will give you the analysis for the next week, which is the date of 18 until 2022. But before we going to review or um, like give insight about the next week period, I will review this week. So as you know, yesterday is the Friday, it's the close of the market, and yeah, and I can say that the review that I gave you last week for this week is actually kind of accurate. I'm not saying like really accurate, but then what I'm concerned about the level of corrections between these three, and the candle shows that the movement for this week is, you know, like between this correction level, like these two correction level, which is I give like correction 1 and correction 2. So if you see my previous video, you can see like how I really careful to use my Fibonacci to calculate where is the resistance on support or the lowest and the highest. So yeah, as you can see now, I can when I give the analysis, the price on that time is on this one. I think around this. I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So this week it start with 10. So it should be like, yeah, about this one. So on that time I tell you that that probably will be half correction, level correction that they can hit. So if you see here, they pass the level correction 1, and then they go through down to the level correction 2. But then between Wednesday and Thursday, I think, if I'm not mistaken, oh sorry, it's between Thursday and Wednesday, there is some of the big drop uh, until about three, yeah, about 3,000 is pips. And yeah, but it's fail again, and then it pulled back to another resistance level. So if you can see here, it hit the correction level, but then it's failed, and then it's pulled back. But it can also reach the resistance, in this case is the Fibonacci retracement line on the 50.0 line. So if you can see, and then it will be, yeah, it drop again. So we can see yesterday, Friday, we can see really strong bear candle. I will show you. I will zoom in. This is the strong bear candle, as you can see here. After the candle like this one. So this one, I see this candle, it seems like, okay, we still have a seller really active to sell their pair, but then, you know, like some of the people still buy this pair, so make it like have more more tail in this. So it's like the buyers push the seller, but then the day after, like probably the buyers give up and the seller is half the stage. So it, you can see the body of this candle, the beer candle, it's really strong. Okay, so how about this week? I will, yeah, I will reformatting this again, and then I will remove the grid so you can see clearly. Okay, let's go back to the monthly. I tell you previously that I see this is a double top. I don't know if you guys see the difference, but I see this is exactly a double top. So what this means, the double top, if you look at the Google for this pattern, the double top usually it's indicate as a bearish. So as you can see here, in the previous video, in the previous weekly analysis video, I told you that we need to be careful until this week so we can know what happened, because on that video I mentioned that we actually I kind of not sure, because we are like playing in the strong support level. So what I'm saying here, that next week probably will be different. If so, we need to really look on the end of this month, which is end of the October, to really look how the candle will be look like. If the candle will be look like same like this, that means it will be drop, it will be bearish, and probably it will be like a long time bearish. So if you, yeah, okay, so let's move to the weekly. And in this weekly time frame, I mentioned to you guys that I found the similar pattern. I also say to you that this pattern actually can trigger a bearish, even though it's a little bit, but it will be drop again, because I see the same pattern as this pattern in the previous one. So this is the last pattern that I saw, and you can also see in here this one. I think this one also can be the sample, or no, I think this one can be also the sample. And then this one also similar. So if you can see here, this is the same, like the same, exactly like the same thing, even though this is more, they have like a more, like not really look like the same. It's more, like if if I zoom in, you can see this is yeah, they have a different start, and they have the same start, but this is a little bit different. But I can see it's still the same. I mean, this is show historically that this pattern, this candle will be trigger a bullish, even though after that it's bearish. So how about this week? I honestly will be think that this week is more bearish than bullish, because when I see after, so if you see this candle too, you can see how much the seller pushed down to the buyer, and then after that, the week after, they successfully like bring down all the candle. So that is like, for me, it's the sign that okay, now time to bearish. But we cannot only rely on the candle, we cannot only rely on the one sign for trade this pair, because we usually need to also look on the hour daily analysis. Or we cannot also just use this candle to be like a kind of like a what you call it, benchmark, but you need to combine with other technique or other indicator to make sure that your signal is valid. Okay, so that's from weekly, and then if we see the daily, it's not much information here. I can say, because I think it's covered by the weekly anyway. Okay, so now let's go to the time frame of the 4 hours. But before of that, let me load the template first. So we can reset from the beginning. Okay, for you who don't know what I'm using here, so if you see the line, like the zigzag line here, so I'm using this indicator to support me to draw the line. So how you can find it, it's really easy. You can click insert and then go to indicator and then go to custom and then choose zigzag. And you can have zigzag to help you to draw your line. So for me, I always use Fibonacci retracement and Fibonacci expansion to my analysis, but if you have other analysis, that's fine. You can also use this zigzag, for example, for the time trend line. If you want to draw your trend line and you're not sure where is the highest point or the lowest point that you need to use, this zigzag indicator actually will help you to make a better point, like better retro point. So for example, like this one, you're probably not sure whether you want to be follow this line, this candle to be as a line, or this candle to be as a line, or this candle, or this candle, or or this one, or this point, high point. But this zigzag indicator is actually helping you to tell you like, hey, you know what, this is the highest point that you need to uh you need to use. So you can use something like this, or even you can drop from here to here. Yeah, so yeah. Okay, so now let's delete this first. I will delete this one. And okay, let's draw a Fibonacci retracement. For next week, Fibonacci retracement, I will use only the highest from this point. So the second highest that show on the time frame. Oh, I'm so sorry. I think it's wrong. So this is the time frame of the daily. So I need to move to the time frame for hour. Let me zoom out. Okay. Okay, so for Fibonacci retracement, I will also, only use the highest that shown, like the second highest that shown on this screen. So we can see here between this one and this one, we see that this is the highest one. So I will drop a line from here to the lowest one here. Same, I use the second high and also I use the second low for this one. So yeah, as you can see here, there is some of the sideways level of confirmation here. As you can see here, there is many movement that want to go up and down, but it's failed, but suddenly like, yeah, after that it's success and make it down. And then also in here also the same for the last week, I think. So the prices drop and then they try to hit the resistance but fail, and then try to hit the other support but then failed. And now if you can see here, from the last I mean from yesterday, it also showed that this candle tried to push the support line, but it's failed. So but this is also still not enough for me to make a summary for what will happen next week. So then after Fibonacci retracement, I use Fibonacci expansion. So for using Fibonacci expansion, if I want to know about the resistance level, I will use the second low. I will drop from here and then drop the middle one in here, and then the last one I will drop the line to the last low. So this is will be the like the strong resistance that they predict. It seems really far away, I think, from the current level. And but yeah, let's see how the support level. So for support level, I will use the second high. I will show you. So I will use the second high. This one is number one, and this is the first, and this is the second. I will drop from here, and then drop the middle to the lowest, second lowest, and then I will drop this to the first high. All right. So you will see here that actually this movement already passed the strong support, because if you can see here, yeah, I can say this is strong support because when you see this level, like this level, it's like a level of something like they want to try to dig in but always fail. But when they finally success, they will, you know, like they will be dropped like a lot. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So from this pattern, what I can say is it seems like next week will be bearish, I can say. Um, since when you see on the weekly basis, and you can see this one is actually the strong support for the double top that I mentioned previously, and they already show us that they successfully, you know, like pass this yeah, passing this line, like passing this support line, and that's mean like the price will be going down for the next week. So yeah, this is really like not really like how I predict or you know, like giving you analysis like the previous one. It's me kind of easy for now, I can say, because it's clearly saying that okay, the price will be going down because it over or already, you know, like it already the candle, if you see the movement, it's already past the like past the support. But of course there is some of the area that probably will be high risk to be played, which is this one, of course, the one that I already marked in blue, and also I think this one. Yeah, if you remember, I dropped this horizontal line as a strong support that they that have, I mean, like that appear on the weekly and the monthly. So be careful when you want to put your plan here, even though it's like a sell limit or buy stop, because the even though if the candle move up again and you know, like touching this area, it probably will be really hard for them, you know, like to move up more than this one, because this is I can say this is very strong level of the support. Oh, sorry, or resistance. This is very strong line. So yeah, I guess I will say this is the high risk area to be played. high-risk area. This one also high-risk area. Yeah. Yeah. So then how about the prediction of, I mean, not prediction, but the analysis on how you can buy or how you can sell? Okay, I cannot tell you now because it's really depend on the daily analysis. Me as a day trader, I cannot give you oh tomorrow you need, or on Monday you will need to set up, like a sell stop or buy stop or something like that, because it's really depend on the daily analysis. Why? Because sometimes when the market is open on Monday, sometimes they will move differently, and sometimes it's also trigger some of, opposites analysis from what we already says in, like what I already said today. So it's really depend on how the daily analysis on Monday. So we need to look again. You can also see on my like daily video plan for Monday next week. It's not ready now, but I usually always upload 2 minute review every morning, Indonesia time. So you can see that how my plans for sell and also for buy. But I can see for now the summary of this. When I see this is really easy summary for me, so I'm not really difficult to decide whether we want to whether we will consider this as a bearish or bullish. I can say this is next week probably will be more bullish than bearish. Of course, I cannot say 100% bearish, because right, on the graphic there is not always down, but sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. So that's, so that's why we call it like a graphic pattern. So because it's like a movement, so it's not always go down. So yeah, I guess just that's it. Please always be careful for what you plan for the next week. And yeah, I guess the only area that you need to really careful is for next week, it's only two, which is the area of um, between 1675 until 1679, and then the other one is 6055 until 1661. And yeah, I guess just that's it for me, and I hope you can enjoy my video and analysis, and I hope can inspire you to make a better indicator to mix with your, like with your preferred one. And I hope this can help you to make your plan on the next week. Thank you, everyone, and see you again on the work day of the next week for the daily plan. Thank you, everyone.